Is it raining out your end of the world?
No, actually, it's sunny.
Oh, okay.
So spring started this week. It's nice out. It's
Yeah.
like 12, 13 degrees, sunny, dry.
It hit 20 here yesterday.
Oh wow.
It's not going to stay that way. It's going to hover around 10 for the week.
Oh yeah, but you got such weird weather in the spring. I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Like
Uh,
it's about I think 8 years ago when we were recording an album in Brantford with our
mhm.
friends. It was like super cold. Like each day it was like -10, and then there was just one day it would just hit like +15.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was so weird. With all the snow, we were just walking in our t-shirts outside, and then the next day it went back to like
Yeah.
-5. And
Yeah, unfortunately, right at that transition into spring, it's just like pick a season and we'll get it.
yeah,
So, all right, we are up and running. Uh, we'll just give it 4 more minutes, and it's weird. They can sort of hear this conversation as well, but um, I use these live streams as people can toss in questions and stuff. But
mm-hmm.
this is just the recording process. It'll get taken down a little bit and edited.
Yep.
So it's just more interaction. Oh, I did. Did I talk to you about the Discord community and everything?
Not yet.
Okay, so and again, it's one of those things that there's no pressure or anything for you, but
Mm-hmm.
what Unbowed is trying to do is create a community for artists to come together, collaborate, work with each other, sometimes even just chit chat and hang out. On top of that, our Discord server has it's divided into two areas. One for fans, paid subscribers to sort of interact, and then there's
Yeah.
an entire artist-only area. But the artists can go up into the fan area if they want
Mm.
to, just for more interaction and stuff.
Yeah.
We also have a web-based forum, just because I find that Discord sometimes you lose track of a thread in what's going on. And both of these things were unbowed. Like by doing this interview, we're giving it to you. Merry Christmas, if you want it. So just to remind
Just
me.
one sec. Right.
Yep, not a problem.
My computer's. No, computer's just making a weird noise.
Mm.
I don't know what's going on.
And your camera has
Still
frozen.
looks good. Ah, you can still hear me?
I can still hear you.
Okay. It might be something with the camera.
I mean, we got the time. You can restart if you want.
Yeah, I'll just restart to be sure.
Yep, not a problem. I'll see you in a minute.
Okay. Yep.
There's no new word in a lawsuit brought by Reverend Q.T. Bennett against the Chinkapin Parish Board of Education. The Reverend, who is pastor of the Riverview Baptist Church, has filed suit charging that the use of the devil as a mascot for our high school team encourages satanic behavior among the youth of our community. When reached for comment about the Reverend's lawsuit, Devil's head coach Marty Thibodeau said, and I quote, "Tell him to go to..." If you're planning on going out today, make sure to bundle up. We'll be good to get up to 39 degrees.
felt like I was being rocked to sleep. It was so nice. I put the pillow under my head and looked at the stars, fell asleep. It's very peaceful. And then I woke up with a crimp in my neck. Right now, I'm just sitting back, taking in the environment, looking at the houses, farms, rows of hay, and little wooden shacks. Landscape is very flat. I don't see any hills. Maybe now I see a few little ones. Nothing in comparison to San Francisco, though. There aren't any streetlights. I know it gets very dark here at night. The train horn keeps blaring. Piles of rocks and little bodies of water. I don't know. No people. Lots of land, no people.
Can you hear me?
There we go. How you doing, bud?
Yeah. I don't know what went wrong, but also installed Skype on my phone just now, so just in case.
Perfect. No worries. All right.
We can always switch to the phone, so
You ready for this?
yeah.
All right. Here we go. Yeah, you are a giant in that picture. Let's fix that. No, let's not mess with that. See, it's the only problem with Skype is that sometimes it just decides that it wants to be its own thing today.
Yeah.
Drag you back down to normal size. Okay. I'm here with Bo Manning. Am I pronounced? I've always. Oh, hold on. Let's try that again. Because I still have your music going and I haven't turned your mic on yet. These are important things. All right. Oh. Decided to read. There we go. I'm here with Bo Menning, and we're just going to start this out nice and chill. You are an amazing guy and a great conversation, and I don't want to rush this too much. So let's start with, how are you doing today?
Not bad. Sun is shining, so that's nice after the gray, rainy winters that we get over here. So
Yeah, and just to be clear, for everybody who's not reading the comments and stuff, you're from the Netherlands. Where specifically, or
Yeah.
Roundabout?
I'm right in the middle, in a city called Utrecht.
And
Yeah.
so, compared to Canadian cities, how big is your town, city?
I think it's about the size. About the size of Hamilton, maybe a little smaller,
Okay, so
but like a big university city.
and have you lived there your whole life? Is this, like, that's home, or like the Netherlands and everything?
Well, I'm from a smaller town about 20 minutes away from here. It's usually like people living in Utrecht. They're all from smaller towns surrounding this city.
Okay.
So the town where I grew up is called Soest, which is like, it's pretty. It's a nice place, but there's not a lot of things happening. Like it's pretty. It's surrounded by woods and.
It's
Yeah, beautiful.
it sounds a lot like where my wife grew up, a smaller northern town in northern Ontario. Not a lot, So let me ask, how did you get into music?
I think my earliest memory.
Ooh.
With music. It was probably when I was 6 or 7. So that was about like 86, 87. And there was the Shout video from Tears for Fears, which was on the TV. And I was just literally I got just pulled in, and I was just holding the TV.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was my just the sound coming from the speaker and seeing that because it's such an epic video with them standing on the rocks, and I don't know. That was probably when I knew I wanted to do something with music, but didn't really know in what direction, and started got a guitar for my birthday when I was 10, but didn't really do much with it. And actually, I got more interested in dance music stuff when I was a young teenager.
Okay.
And I was usually like asked like, as a DJ to play records and on school dances and stuff like that. But I really just lately I started to like go back into the influences of what I do now, and I think like all that techno music is somewhere it's got a because like those ambient techno tracks, they always build up, and that's kind of still the same thing we do with the band and stuff. It's funny to realize to trace it back all the way to the techno music, and then I started listening to more punk stuff, and then more into like punk hardcore and like metal even. Took guitar lessons and stuff like that, and I was taught by yeah, he just let me play like anything, like just metal solos or jazz solos, like anything to let me realize that there are no boundaries in music.
And I think that comes across in a lot of the music, both your solo album and the stuff you do with Astrid, that feeling of no limits.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's just the influence of my of that guitar teacher that I had. Like I remember that the last lesson, or I didn't know it was the last lesson. Like just one day he said, "We're done here. Like I got nothing more to teach you. Last thing I want to teach you is just let there never be any boundaries." So that was, yeah.
And so let's get into the music writing process, because your stuff, both with the band and your solo album, I don't quite know how to phrase it. So let me try and put it this way: it's intricately empty in some ways and full in others. I was talking with my wife and another guy about your stuff, and it's this really weird thing, and it's hard to put a finger on, but it's not empty, because that's not the right word, but spacious, but never sounds hollow. And again, I think that comes back to the no boundaries and the no limits thing. But how do you start? Like, like, go back to the old stories of Guns N' Roses and Sweet Child of Mine, one of my favorite rock and roll stories of all time. You got Slash sitting on the guitar, sitting on the couch, just picking out a riff, and Axl just goes nuts with it, despite the fact that Slash hated the riff, and that's how it goes. But that's sort of your traditional rock stuff. With your stuff, where do you start? How do you craft it?
It's a lot of trial and error, or it used to be. I used to like spend hours and hours just creating sound, and just till something hits, like emotionally. And often it will be just me playing and just maybe just striking just one chord or two chords until something happened, and it's just something literally has to resonate. Yeah, like in the early days of the band, I always used to like really do this like for hours and hours, and it would just be like exhausting.
Mhm.
And I would just try to force it into a song, and but as the years passed, I just now I just tend to what do you call it? I just let it build up inside until it comes out, and it'll and just accept it the way it comes out, and it might, yeah, it might be like a very spacious song, or with a lot of stuff going on,
Mhm.
with a lot of melodies, and yeah, it can sound heavy or it can sound super light, but um, yeah, I don't know. There's not really a specific template for any Esther song. It always feels different, but I think that the thing that runs through it is just that um, it has to move me, and it yeah.
Mhm. So you touched on something there in the beginning, in that, you know, when you're younger and you're
Hmm.
getting the band going, it's this almost, you have to get the song out, you have to make it work, you have to make these pieces fit and stuff.
Yeah.
But now, not so much. And I really want to, you know, like these to be sort of talking to the up and coming musicians, to the new guys, the people that want to get into it. How what's your how did you get to that point of just let it come?
Um,
I'm asking the easy questions.
yeah. Yeah. No. It's good to think about these things. um, I never really think about the process. I just accept it, that it changes and that it's just the way it goes. But uh, now I forgot your question.
How did you learn to just let it go and let it come
Oh
naturally?
yeah. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's just not feeling any pressure, just having confidence that the songs will keep coming. That's not being afraid of. Yeah, like after each, like I still get that feeling though. After each song, I think like this must be it. Like how many songs it can come out of a person in a lifetime. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think you just keep changing and you keep experiencing new things, and I think that feeds the process, and it keeps that going. But yeah,
So,
uh,
no,
yeah.
no, please. Sorry. Um,
No, I forgot what I wanted to go on about. But
do you find that a lot of your music comes from sort of a personal place, or uh, theoretical, a storytelling sort of place, as opposed to, you know, personal experiences and that sort of thing?
yeah, it's always from a very personal place. Um, yeah, always driven by some kind of memory or uh, being triggered. But yeah, that also has to do with a lot of my upbringing. I've got like a complex PTSS, PTSD disorder, and like I go in and out of depression or stuff like that. But yeah, the thing with PTSD is that I get triggered like multiple times a day, and yeah, I think songs are a way for me to deal with stuff, and there's no solution for the condition, but music helps.
And oh, that's a sentiment right there, and one that I can certainly empathize with. You know,
Hmm.
how do you find for you? And I've known you for a little while, and I'd like to consider you a friend, and I've seen that you know both music and running are ways of you dealing with those things inside. How do you latch onto that? How do you harness that energy?
Um, yeah, I think when I run or when I play music, I just feel very free. Yeah, with music, it's a lot more confronting. Running is just like it builds like mental toughness, and it yeah, it frees me from a lot of dark stuff. But the music really, yeah, one feeds the other, and it's the other way around. I used to always think like I used to be pretty good at running. Like when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, I used to compete in national championships and stuff like that. And until I wasn't getting any better, but I could run in the finals and stuff like that. And but then I just fell into a deep hole when things were really starting to go bad at home with fights with my parents and me and my dad and stuff like that. And so I quit running and just poured everything into music until like up to a point a couple of years ago when I felt that I needed to start running again. Like I needed that help me to continue making music in a way. So yeah, that was yeah, I don't know. It's a strange. It might be a strange combination, but for me, it's like a race can be like a show, and a show can be like a race.
Well, and to put on it, you guys aren't exactly low energy when you perform. And now has you know like has it become a little bit easier with that running, you know, just getting that, you know, that endurance, not just the mental toughness but the
Yeah.
physical toughness.
Yeah, that's the yeah, the shows are like we pour everything into it, and it I don't know, it just runs like the music just moves so deep into like through us, and we just get yeah, it just takes us like it's like a giant wave. That's how I often describe it. You just let it flow through you, and but yeah, often it's a pretty exerting experience for us and for the audience. Like we can feel when the audience is the energy from the audience, although we don't say a lot of stuff on stage or in between the songs. We rather let the music speak, but yeah, sometimes it happens like in between songs that it's just like a minute of silence because we all need literally need to catch our breath, or when it just when a song just gets too close, or just like or one of us is just choking up, and but it's not a bad thing. It's just yeah, I always see it as a very honest thing. It's just yeah, it's life.
Yeah. And you guys build quite a rapport, relationship with your audiences, both, you know, your fans through the internet and stuff like that, but during your live show, there's certainly a huge connection. I mean, one of my favorite shots, you know, when I set up for stuff like this, I'm always looking for a great image. And I love the one that I have up there now, but there's this shot of you during a performance up on top of a table, just about hitting your head on a beam and just going at it. How much does that feed into what you do?
Like the physical, the physical aspect, you mean? Like,
No, more the connection with the audience. Just how much does it fuel you?
Yeah, we definitely like feel that there's something between us and the audience, and sometimes you can feel that this interaction, thought into it, like how on how to deal with an audience. Like sometimes I get a little crazy. I get on top of the drums, or I just swinging. I keep swinging. I'm swinging from the beams, or or from the rigging where the light is, where all the lights are installed, or climbing onto the speakers of the sound system. Yeah, it's just. Also, yeah, that's also, I think, a part of me just wants to celebrate something. I don't know. It's just it's a weird feeling that I don't know how to explain. But it like it goes from like super dark, like in the shows. Like it can start light and it will go deep and deeper. On some nights it goes like deeper than we'd want it to, but it's just the way it goes. But then the highs are also like they can be like an incredible, huge wave.
And so, like, how have you personally and the band? What are your strategies, for lack of a better word? How do you guys deal with those waves and ride them? Because to an extent, you know, my performance aspect was in acting and stuff like that, and there's some of that in there, but you know, it's a lot like surfing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you and the other guys in A Street. Wait for him to come back. There we go. You're back. Yay. You disappeared for a second. That's okay. You and the guys in A Street have been together for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you know, you feed off of each other as much as you feed off the audience. What is that connection like? What can you speak like? Can you speak to that sort of forming?
Yeah, it feels very natural. I can think of another way to on how to describe it. Yeah, it feels very safe to do that, and like at least with the other guys in the band. And a lot of times you feel it at the show, like, and sometimes there are shows where people don't get it at first, or some of them don't, but then at the end, like everybody's into it, and But sometimes it can feel a bit weird, but I will never hold back because I feel scared to share or to like literally do what we do and not be ashamed of that.
And the reason I keep asking and sort of heading down this road is because that's such an incredible place to be. You know, you've talked about it. You know, getting to that point of no limits of pushing past the stage fright, the fear, the you know the whole thing, and that's I think where so many artists need to get to and want to get to, and just hearing somebody like you say it is so important.
It comes from a deep place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I've dealt with a lot of shame in my younger years, and when I started out playing music and started with this band, and like I used to have like my own rehearsal room uh, in the barn at my parents' house. And, I had I still have like a very difficult relationship with my dad, um, who had a huge drinking problem and could be a real mean drunk and step into the rehearsal room when I would just be like trying to pour my heart out, and he would just crush me, like just stuff like that. And um, but even though having endured that, like nothing's gonna stop me now. But it's that was pretty tough.
Well, and I'm glad you've made it to this point and keep going. I'm gonna slightly shift gears a little bit. In much the same vein though, is you know, Unbowed was formed because of what happened over the past couple of years, and just watching artist friends, you know, like bands crumble, artists having to stop performing simply because there's no way that they could do it, and they had to put food on the plate. How have things been for you over the past couple of years? And I know that your neck of the woods sort of dealt with things a little bit differently than we did, but it hasn't been easy on anybody. So how have you been handling it? If you want to talk about it, obviously.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Uh, yeah, it's been surreal, like for everyone. Um, like whether you're over here or over there in Canada. Uh, um, but yeah, we started recording new songs, and then like we were doing one song a month in these three 3 day sessions
Mm-hmm.
where we just set up in the same space. Because we do everything ourselves. We record our own albums, and it's that feels most natural for us. But then the pandemic hit in March when we were working on the third or fourth song, and we were like, okay, um, well, we'll just keep going. Like this will be our thing that will just get us through. It's our own little bubble where nothing will. Yeah, it's just us, and nothing will touch us in there. And then it was June. Uh, yeah, we were starting to have like big discussions in the studio, and like it didn't get to a fight or anything, but yeah, I just found myself just walking out of the studio and just walking away.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was like we get along. We always get along like so well, and now we were these like stupid discussions about like one note in the song. Usually we just embrace like any mistake, but now it seemed to be a very big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is not like this is not the cause of what's going on here, but um, yeah, then we sort of we just abandoned the recording process.
Oop. That's not a good sound.
And
Might have gotten them back. We'll see. Oh. You still there? Can you hear me, Bo? And this is why we have this process, so that we can deal with technical errors like this. Alright, let's see if I can... Yeah, lost him. Just give it a second. Oh, you're back. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what went wrong.
Just yeah. The wonderful internet.
It froze.
Give me 2 seconds to resize you a whole lot. Almost there. So we lost you at probably the most inopportune time. You were sort of talking about the last thing that came through clearly was that you guys were fighting about you know one note, and you know that this you know that you realized that this wasn't really good.
Yeah, it was just like all the negativity of like the outside world just started to seep through the bubble. And yeah, Jurjen, the bass player, he also is a producer, and he just saw uh, all his work that he had planned out for the rest of the year. It just went up in smoke because nobody was playing anymore. Nobody had the money anymore to record. So yeah, that was very tough. So he fell into depression, and yeah, I think we sort of kept touch, but then yeah, I don't know. We didn't want to play music until like about a year later.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first show that we did together again was like uh, November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very good. So we knew everything was still okay.
Good.
But yeah, everybody. Yeah, for me, the songs that we were recording, um, the recording process for me was very. Um, it was hard,
Mm-hmm.
but because there's a lot of like personal stuff, memories in these new songs, and like I was going through some stuff, and Then next it was who fell into depression, and um, yeah, his relationship went up in smoke, and like yeah, stuff like heavy stuff, dark stuff, and yeah, same to say for Ray the drummer. And so everybody really got its share, or got their share.
So,
So that was pretty tough to see, but yeah, things are better now. But
uh, and I'm glad, and it is a process to get back to. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't think normal is the right word, but maybe back to a good place.
yeah.
So I have to ask then, so you were recording those tracks with Astrid. Things went south, and
Hmm.
how did that lead into North Star Runaway?
Um, yeah, that idea started to grow about a year ago. No, maybe less. Like in the summer last year. Um, I was visiting a friend of mine who's a well-known producer or engineer over here in the Netherlands, and um, he's done the mastering of several of our albums. And I was just visiting him, and we were talking about the Astrid sessions, and I just got inspired when I was at his studio, and I was like, well, maybe we can we can record like a single together, and then yeah, the idea of a single started to grow into an EP, and then I started to dig even further into the archives, and then it just turned into an album. Like 2 months later, I just made an appointment. Like, hey, I got these 10 tracks. Want to help me put them together and see if we can work out a track list for the mastering. And I just started recording for like, because yeah, half of the album is just old songs from way back, like more than 10 years ago, that I sort of reworked a little, and they're newer songs. And then suddenly I just found this um, yeah, all these songs had just the same kind of feeling that just runs through them. Um, yeah, and that became the North Star Runaway. But yeah, things were like not in a great place with the band, and but I really felt that I had some music in me.
Hmm.
And usually I always think, like my thought always is like, um, anything that I make can be made into an Astrid song.
Hmm.
But these were like 10 tracks, and I thought, well, maybe it's time for that solo album now.
Well, and that's the interesting thing, because you can hear your style in it, but it's very much you.
Yeah, it's sort of like an Astrid light.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, it sounds that way, but and maybe yeah. I always like film scores,
Hmm.
and I wanted that solo album to feel like a film score.
Oh, and that's cool. So I guess that leads into the next part, which is, where are you going from here?
Um, like personally or musically with the band.
Yes.
Hmm. Um, yeah, we're gonna resume recording the new songs with Astrid, and because things are are good again.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they never went. They never were any. They weren't bad, but I think each of us just needed time to deal with all this inward focus the whole time. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, probably anybody can relate to. And so we'll resume with that, and yeah, maybe in the future I'll make another album like that. But it's yeah, usually we just have enough material for songs with Astrid, and
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there might be another solo album. I don't know. We'll just see where it goes, and but I'm very anxious to pick up the recording with the band again, and because I think there's really yeah the those new songs are pretty, or for me at least, are a pretty big deal. And
See, and that's not fair because now you're just teasing with the music. I'm always looking forward to it going. And on the other side of things, the question is here in North America, here in London, here in Ontario, things are opening up again, and
Yeah.
pretty much by the end of the month will be unregulated, for lack of a better word. Over there, are you going to be are you guys getting the opportunity to perform again, perform live, to reconnect with your audiences?
Yeah, it's the same. Um, I think we're. I think you guys are just a little, like a few weeks or like a month behind where we
Mm-hmm.
are. Like things have opened up, and all regulations. They dropped all the regulations. So yeah, playing live will probably be hard because of all the postponed
Mm-hmm.
shows. All the venues are like booked until the end of the year.
Oh wow.
That's what's going on over here. Also the small venues. So I think it's a problem, but I can also see that as an opportunity for bands to look for other places to play.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be kind of interesting. And
That's been a through thread in the conversations I've had over the past week, 2 weeks. Everybody's talking
yeah,
about. So I don't know about there, but over here, some of sort of the more staple venues that we use have closed down and won't be coming back.
yeah,
So there's this constant, yay, the venues are up, they're booked again, which is great, but
yeah,
there's still a lack, there's still a need, and it's causing artists and producers and promoters to look for new things, which is I think it helps to rejuvenate the field industry.
yeah. It's like all these venues. They yeah, it's sad to see some of them go. Um, yeah, over here as well. Um, but yeah, it'll create, like, for bands, like bands will always find a place to
Hmm.
play. And yeah, when I was slowly starting to look at for places to play in Canada again, um, I saw that like half of the places are out of business. And
Yeah, unfortunately,
yeah, so yeah, it's the whole,
but
like all these contacts that you build, and relationships with promoters and stuff. Like half of them aren't even in the business anymore, um, or the places are just simply not there anymore. And
But the positive side of it is we've got guys. The last interview I do, a gentleman by the name of Mark, professional name the Koala.
hmm
There he's finding new venues, new ways of doing things. So give us a little bit of time, and when you're ready to come back over here, we'll have some better places.
That sounds cool. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we can't wait. We were just talking about it like last week.
Mhm. I s-
It's just like, oh man, I would just like to go to Canada so bad. But I said, well, guys, I'm very hesitant to book some flights for us in the fall because nobody knows what's gonna happen like next fall.
mhm.
Like I don't wanna,
Yeah.
yeah, have to cancel on those tickets because we don't get the money back. Like we book all those tours like with our own money. Like we put all our own money into it, and
Yeah.
like we just have to be sure that things aren't going to be canceled. And
Exactly. Um, it's always good chatting with you, and there's so much more I want to talk with you. So I'm definitely going to be bugging you for another sit down conversation. Um, but I don't want to hold you up too much on this one. So we'll sort of head it off there, and we'll talk again soon. Before we go, can you give everybody your social media, where to listen to the music, where to find the band, all that sort of stuff?
yeah, we're on Spotify and all the streaming platforms. Um, Instagram, Astrid Band. Um, Facebook. Yes, Facebook/Astrid.
Mhm.
Uh, Twitter, not so much.
I, I have to tell you, I have Twitter for Unbowed, and I try every once in a while, but not
Mhm.
my favorite place on earth.
No.
All right, my dude. I really want to thank you for sitting down and having this conversation. And it just reminds me of how much more I have and want to talk to you about. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
We will see you in the next one.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks.
David.
All right. We're off. I'm still got things. A couple of quick things I just want to bring. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not joking. There's so much on my list of things I want to talk to you about, but we got into some great conversations, some things that I think that people need to hear, and thank you so much for saying it.
Mm.
Um, before we get into the sort of personal stuff, oh, I should probably make sure that we're not streaming anymore.